Hey, it's the Swedish Guitar Nerd here, reviewing guitars again. It's a new year and my ambition is that my reviews will be more frequent this year around. I'm hoping so. Okay. Well, I've said in other videos that you can request guitars for me to review. And that's what people have done. So here we have the Epiphone Dot, which I will be reviewing today. So this one goes out to Caribes and Richie, who asked me to review this one. Okay, the Epiphone Dot. It's since Epiphone is mostly doing copies of Gibson guitars. Well, they have their own models as well, but in general, they are doing cheaper Far East made copies of Gibson guitars. And this is one of those. It's their the most famous semi-acoustic guitar in the world, the ES-335 that they are trying to copy here. Yeah. And I will say just a little bit about the semi-acoustic thing. It means that the body is constructed like an acoustic guitar. You have a top and a bottom glued to these sides. So basically it's an acoustic body, but you have a wood block going through the middle. So, well, that makes it semi-acoustic, that it is hollow here and hollow here, but not in the middle. So what does this do? There are myths about this making the guitar sound, I don't know, more like an acoustic, and it really doesn't. Really, trust me. Maybe, I mean, even the acoustic sound, tone or volume of the guitar is, on this one at least, exactly like a regular electric guitar. So, it's really not that big of a difference. The thing that it actually do affect is the attack, I think. Maybe slightly. The attack of your playing and the tones, notes. It's a bit slower in attack than a regular solid body guitar. And that's something you might want when you're playing blues and jazz, for instance. You might not want it when you're playing metal. And well, you don't see that many metal players playing semi-acoustic guitars. They are also known for big problems with feedback. And I suppose those are the ones that are more loud acoustically. This really isn't. Okay, let's start talking about this guitar then. Okay. We start at the headstock as usual, and what do we have here? We have, what do you know, Grover tuners, proper good tuners. And this is, well, this is a more expensive guitar than the ones I usually review. It's still a cheaper guitar, but definitely more expensive than the ones I usually review. And, well, you can tell here, proper tuners, really good. I love them. Thank you, Epiphone. And then we have a mahogany neck, we have a rosewood fingerboard, rather flat radius, Gibson style, and rather large frets, again Gibson style. I'm not very fond of mahogany necks. That's what Gibson has been doing for a long time. Since the beginning of making their electric guitars. I prefer maple, and actually there have been models of the ES-335 that had maple necks, and I'm quite sure those were better. Maple is much stronger, it's well, my opinion is that it's more reliable, and if you want tuning stability, you want a strong, solid neck. And maple resonates well as well, so it's not unmusical. So please, Epiphone. Especially since Epiphone has other semi-acoustic guitars like the Sheraton that uses maple necks. It's basically the same neck, but in maples. I would like that. Okay, the body. It's as I said, there's a solid piece of wood in the middle, a wood block that's made of mahogany. That's usually maple in the American ones, in the ES-335s. But here's mahogany. You have mahogany side, and you have laminated maple on the bottom and the top. And, well, basically plywood. That's what it is. And that's because it's, it has this curve to it, and you can't really do that with solid wood. I think it's rather hard, but with laminated wood or plywood, no problem. That's bendable, so I guess that's why they're using it. And plywood is decent. I've talked about it in other videos. Why not use plywood in more guitars? It would save a lot of trees. Yeah. I'll talk about the electronics, but there are 2 humbuckers, of course. We have this lock tone bridge, a specialty for Epiphone. It's nothing super space science about this. It just makes the bridge and the stop tail clamp tight to the posts. And well, that's good. Anything that makes everything tight and solid makes the guitar better and increase the sustain, and that's what they say, and I believe them in that matter. It's a cheap version of the thing that Tron Pros do with their bridges. There you actually screw them tight. Here it's just, it's some springs in the back that clamp it tight. Well, it's a good and cheap solution, and I think it makes a difference. So, way to go, Epiphone. Well, I'll get back to the bridge later. Okay, materials and hardware. It's an 8 for that. Build quality, durability. As I said, tuners, perfect. They will last forever, I think. Really good. The neck or the head of this one is not a copy of the Gibson style head. It's actually a copy of traditional Epiphone head. And that's a love-hate thing. If you like this one or not, I don't think it's very beautiful. The good thing with a big headstock is that I think it increases sustain. I really believe that. But here we have a problem. It's made of mahogany, the neck is mahogany, and you have this big headstock, and since you have an angle here, the risk of breaking the headstock, really breaking it off, is actually big. So durability wise, I don't know, because a lot of Gibson guitars, they break here. There should be a volute, extra wood. Why don't you do it? And that's a risk you have. Other than that, build quality wise, it's really well made. It has this cherry finish. It's actually redder. It's more like, I don't know, blood red, I would call it. It's more red than the American version of cherry, and it looks good. The thing is, when they have applied it, they haven't been very precise. There's a binding on the body, and the color in some places covers the binding in ways it really shouldn't. You can't see it from a distance, but if you look really close, it's very obvious. And when the neck meets the body, you can see there's some red paint where there shouldn't be. And at the F holes, that seems to be a hard thing to do. Yeah. It's not perfect. From a distance, it looks perfect. And, well, it doesn't affect the playing. The frets are really good. I like them. There are no sharp fret ends because they have filed them. And the guy, girl, anyone filing them must have had a bad day and been, I don't know, angry and taking it out on the guitar because you can see file marks on the actual fretboard as well. Again, it's not a thing that affects playing, but it doesn't look very tidy. What else? I like the bridge, as I said. The thing is, and this is a common thing, all Epiphone guitars I've tried have had this problem. I don't know why. The stop tail here, it's not all the way into the body. There's a slight... It's not really there. This is pretty close. I've seen much worse examples of it. If someone knows anyone that's working on Epiphone, please tell them. They seem to do it with a majority of the guitars with this kind of stop tail. I don't know why. So build quality, durability, it gets a 7.